going? Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to share with you my January wrap up. If you watched my little announcement about my new wrap up style, this year I'm trying something different for my wrap up style, and that is I am going to be combining a couple of videos into one. So what should you expect from this video? I'm going to tell you what I read, what I bought and received, or my January book haul, and I'm going to explain to you some of my favorite things or share some of my favorite things with you. It's going to be actual objects and moments as well. So this format may evolve as time goes on, and as you saw from the little intro, I'm using the app 1 Second Every Day to film a little intro clip because that's kind of like wrapping up little moments of the month as well. This month of course was cut short because I didn't realize I was going to do this format until halfway through the month. And then of course you don't remember to do the 1 Second Every Day clips every day, so that was kind of short. So hopefully next month there'll be a few more clips for you, but let's go ahead and jump right in because I have a lot to talk to you about. First one that I read was The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. I actually picked this up at Book Outlet. I really enjoy that website because you can find great books for discounted prices. I have already done a full review of both The Bone Season and The Mime Order, so if you're interested in my full thoughts, definitely check out that video. But this is the second book in the series, and the third book comes out in March. I'm really excited for it, but this just continues the story. It picks up right where the first book left off, and of course I can't really tell you a lot about it unless I spoil the ending of the first book. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out my review. The next book that I read is Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerall. This is the story of 17-year-old Britta, who follows alongside her father growing up. He teaches her to track and to hunt, but then one day he dies and she has to like kind of survive on her own, but because of who her mother was, she's kind of shunned from her village and people don't really like work with her very well. And so she has to fend for herself. She ends up being caught poaching on the king's land, but the king makes a deal with her and says that if she goes and catch her father's murderer, then he will grant her her freedom and allow her to stay in her house. So she agrees to do that, but then she is told that the killer is her longtime childhood friend Cohen, and she can't believe, but she agrees to go and get him so she can be granted her freedom. And this is her journey to find Cohen, and there's like an epic journey from one kingdom to another. One kingdom kind of reveres magic, another one shuns it, and it's just kind of like magical, and there's a journey, and there is a little bit of romance, and there's some really good characters, but I thought that the world building was a little bit lacking and the characters were a little bit lacking. Next up I read Frostblood by Ellie Blake. I just did a review of this last Saturday, so if you're interested in my full thoughts, definitely check out that review. But this tells the story of 17-year-old Ruby, who has to hide her powers of heat and flame from the ruling Frost class, and because they want to eliminate all of the Firebloods. At the very beginning, Ruby's mother is killed for protecting Ruby, and then Ruby wants to exact revenge on the people that killed her mother. So the first part of the book is kind of the revenge story, Ruby harnessing her powers of heat and flame and working with other people to exact revenge. But then the second part is she's actually captured and taken to the kingdom where she's forced to participate in these tournaments. And even though that's the second part of the book and you're kind of like, maybe that's a big spoiler, it tells you right in the beginning that she's captured by the king and forced to participate in these tournaments. So it's not really a spoiler. You definitely know what's going to happen, but you don't know how it's going to happen. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one and I gave it 4 stars. I don't think I've really been telling you the rating of these books because I have been doing full reviews. So definitely check out those if you're interested in individual thoughts about those books. Next up, I read All the Good Parts by Loretta Nyan, and I did a full kind of vlog unboxing for this. I received this in the November 2016 Once Upon a Book Club box. And it comes with little presents individually wrapped, and then as you get to a certain page number, you open the present and it kind of correlates to the story. So it's kind of like a reading experience with the gifts in the box, and they're not necessarily bookish, but I do have a full video coming a little bit more about this book and about, you know, unwrapping the presents and all of that. But this follows the story of a 39-year-old woman who is living in her sister's basement. She is going to school. She's finishing up her nursing degree, but she goes to the doctor for like a checkup, and she's basically told that the early signs of menopause are approaching and that if she wants to have a child, she should do so sooner rather than later. So she starts to think about if she wants a child or not and how she's going to go about doing that, because there's no men in her life. So she kind of decides that she does want to have a kid, but how does she go about that if there's no men in her life? So in her online class, she meets another gentleman, and, you know, she starts talking to him and thinking maybe he could be the one. And then her niece is getting tutoring lessons for someone. She thinks, oh, maybe her tutor could be the guy. So it's just kind of finding yourself and realizing what you want and how you can go about it. But I really did enjoy this book. Next up, I read The Arc of I Found You by Lisa Jewell. I've never read anything by this author, but I really loved her writing style. I can't tell you too much about it because it does come out in April, but I'm hoping to film a review soon and then just wait to post it until April, so the thoughts are still fresh in my mind. This is like interweaving stories. One of the stories is of a woman who lives in this beach house who finds this man outside, you know, sitting on the shore, and he doesn't remember how he got there, who he is, what his name is, where he came from, and she kind of invites him in, and they're trying to figure out how did he get there, who is he, what's his backstory. And then there's another story of Lily, who just got married and her husband doesn't come home from work one day. So she calls the police and she's like, my husband didn't come home. And of course she's from the Ukraine and she's living in London now, where her husband and her have this flat, and she's kind of like out of her element because her husband's missing and she's in a strange country and she doesn't know anybody. But then the police tell her that her husband does not exist. The other story is set in 1993. It's about a family that has two teenage children, a son and a daughter, and they kind of go to this beach house every summer, and the girl gets attention from a guy and the brother doesn't like that. And so there are three stories that are weaving together, kind of being told at the same time, and you're trying to figure out, do they interweave, do they not interweave, do they relate, do they not relate? And I just really enjoyed the writing style. I liked the characters, and the settings were great. So definitely keep your eye out for this in April, and I'll do my review closer to the release date. The first one I got is Ignite Me by Tara Mafi. This is the third and final book in the Shutter Me trilogy. I finally got my hands on it thanks to my secret sister, who is Sabrina at Stickachino. Also sent me The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh. This is the second book in the Wrath and the Dawn duology, and I'm so excited to finally have this one. She also sent me the brand new release of Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. This is the second book in a YA series that started last year. It's the follow-up to Truth Witch. Truth Witch wasn't my favorite, but I still wanted to give it a go because it had a lot of promising things about it. The world and the characters and just the magical element. So I definitely wanted to give it a try, and I'm really happy that she sent it to me so I can give it a try. So two books that I got myself that I paid full price for is Milk and Honey. This is that poetry book that everybody's raving about. It's a collection of poetry and prose about survival in different ways. So I'm really excited about it. It does have illustrations in it, and I've seen great reviews of this. Some people have liked it, some people haven't. I want to see where I stand. I also got Crooked Kingdom, which is the second book in the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. But basically, Kaz and his crew are fighting for their lives after the events of the first book, and I'm really excited about this one. Beautiful book, as everybody knows. What stands out about this duology, or at least in the first book to me, was the characters rather than really the plot or the setting. I received 2 books in my bookcase club. I'm kind of like an ambassador for them, so they send me a box every month, and I just kind of review their their subscription service, and I usually do that on my blog. But the two books that I received was North of Beauty by Justina Chin and First There Was Forever by Juliana Romano. And what I like about these books is it's books that I've never really heard of unless I go like digging. But this first one here, North of Beautiful, is about Tara, who has a flawed face, and she's headed off to college on the East Coast, but she's thrown off course by her controlling father, and then she ends up bumping into her complete opposite, which totally changes her life, but it challenges her about her assumptions about herself and about life. This is actually First There Was Forever by Juliana Morano is her debut, and it's about it's a story of two best friends, and their names are Lima and Haley. And Lima is the shy, sensitive type, and Haley's really outgoing and free-spirited. But one day, Haley abandons Lima and goes to this party because she has this crush on this guy named Nate, and she wants to see him and be popular and, you know, hang out with the popular kids. But then Lima and Nate end up spending time together and do something irreversible. So it's kind of like, do you choose your friendship or do you choose this boy? And I just think it's going to be a fun, light, fluffy, contemporary read. I finally picked up Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. I love this cover. I've been waiting for this particular cover, but just after midnight on the Orient Express, it stopped due to snowdrifts. And in the morning, a millionaire that was on board is found murdered. So there's an investigation on board of all the passengers, and they're trying to find out who done it. My Crate subscription box, I received Roseblood by A.G. Howard, and this is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. And what I really like about this book is that it has the red text. So I think it's a really beautiful book, and I did, when I was younger, listen to the Phantom of the Opera and kind of watch it on TV and stuff like that. I've never been to the show, but it just sounds really good. Then the last 4 books I picked up at the Book Exchange store. I'll go ahead and throw this in there now. I'm currently not halfway through, maybe a third of the way through The Joy of Less, A Minimalist Guide to Organize and Simplify by Francine J. I'm not rushing through this because I'm trying to take my time with it, so all the information sticks with me. So I'm just going to slowly make my way through this, probably several times this year. But what it made me do, and what I thought I should do first, was to go through my bookshelf and pull books that I'm either not reading, I'm not interested in, or I just never see myself getting to. So I went to the Book Exchange, I exchanged in a bunch of books, I got over $200 in credit, and these are the books, some of the books that I picked up with my credit. I still have like a lot of money in credit, but I got Jojo Moyes' The Girl That You Left Behind, and this is set in 1916 German occupied France, where Sophie's husband is an artist, and he draws this picture of her, but he's sent off to fight, and the town falls into German hands. The portrait of Sophie is found by this military commander who takes a liking to the portrait. So then 10 years later, there's another lady named Liv who receives the painting from her husband shortly before his death. So it's kind of like a dual love story type thing, and I'm really interested in it. Next up, I picked up the second book in the Me Before You duology. This is After You by Jojo Moyes, and I know that a lot of people found problems with the first book, but I really did enjoy it, and I want to see the conclusion. This tells the story about how you move on after losing the person that you loved. How do you build a life worth living? An extraordinary accident forces Lou to return home. She feels like she's back at square one, but she moves on by joining a support group, and things move on from there. I also picked up The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, and this is actually being turned into a movie or a TV movie or something like that. I recently heard about resilience and redemption. A family that the father is an alcoholic and the mother is super free-spirited. So the children end up taking care of themselves. And then they eventually, you know, as they grow up, they find their way to New York. And the parents follow the children because they want to be close to them, but they remain homeless while the children prosper. Just being about like a real family that has like real struggles, I think is just going to like hit me in the feels. And the last book of this wrap up, and the last book I got at the book exchange, is The Woman in Cabin 10. This is set on a luxury cruise line, and this journalist kind of goes on this cruise line for this like once in a lifetime job opportunity. So things start off great, but then one night she sees this woman from cabin 10 thrown overboard, but then the next morning nobody's talking about it, and she's trying to find out, you know, what's going on. All of the passengers on the cruise line remain accounted for, so it's not making sense to her, and you're trying to piece together the puzzles, like did she see someone, is she imagining it, and so forth. So that is my January book haul, and I tried to give you a little bit of information about each book, but it's hard to do that when you haven't read it, so it's just based off of like the synopsis or things I've heard and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and jump into my favorites. It's the first time I've ever done favorites on my channel, and I'm really excited to share some of my favorite things. So the first two things you're going to be like, really? You're sharing this on your channel? Yes, I am. So the first one are these Thinx panties. They're the, what is it called? The hipster ones. And I got the beige. But what these are like period panties. And you wear these on your period, and they have built-in leakage protection instead of wearing a tampon or a pad or something like that. I really like these. They really worked. I don't know if I would recommend them without protection, without additional protection on your like heaviest day, but for other days I think it was great. And you can wear them for like 4 to 6 hours, and it tells you on the website like how much each pair holds, like worth of blood. But this just gives you like so much freedom, and you don't have to bring anything with you, and you can get through a day of work just on these, and they're just great. But you just rinse them out, you can throw them in the washer, and it's kind of like revolutionary for the period things in women's lives. So definitely check these out. I just bought one pair when I first ordered it because I wanted to try them out to see if I liked them, how they fit, if they were comfortable, and all of that. And I loved them so much that I think I ordered 5 more pairs or 4 more pairs. They are pretty pricey, so they are like an investment piece, but if you think of all the things you don't have to buy because you have these, yes. Staying in the same category, I also invested in new panties for the everyday, and I got some packed apparel. These are organic cotton sourced, you know, organically, but these are great. I got the boy short kind of fit or whatever. I love these. I got them in the black. I got the 4-pack of the boy shorts. I ordered 2 more packages of 4 because I loved them so much. Again, a little pricey, but they're super soft and they fit great, and when you wash them they're still like super soft and no fading and stuff like that. So if you're a woman, they also sell guy stuff. They sell leggings, they sell socks, they sell other stuff, but I have the link to the website, and I'll have all the links to all of this stuff down in the description box if you're interested about the books that I read. I'll have the links to the Goodreads, and I'll have the links to these products down below, so check that out. But Thinx and Packed get double thumbs up from me. I tried just one of each out, and now I'm like ordering it all the time. So I think I'm set for life with my Thinx and my Packed organic underwear. So now let's move on from that. I'm sorry if that was a little embarrassing, but they're really great products and you need to know about them. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is this 48-hour coil candle. You can change it out. It's refillable, so once you go through this coil you can buy other coils. I've posted a couple of pictures about it on Instagram, and everybody has asked about it because it just has this like really cool look, and it has this little clip, but basically you roll the coil up into this little clamp right here, and then as it burns it, so this coil will last for 48 hours burning time, and this is a beeswax, but once it gets down, you know, past the metal, it puts itself out, so it's kind of like self-containing. You don't really have to keep too much of an eye on it or anything, and there's very little drip with beeswax, so that's another thing that I like about beeswax. Don't worry, I have the link in the description box for you to link to their candles. They have all different kinds. They have ones that go up, they have ones that go this way, all different kinds. But yeah, everybody's been asking about it, so I figured I would share it. Another candle, and actually candle company, that I have been adoring is the, what is it, Whiskey River Soap Company. And this candle in particular, the Calf Fiend, oh my god, you guys, I can't even tell you. It's handmade soy candle from this company, and it's basically like this basement company that like is not huge yet, but I found these like before Christmas time. I got a couple of candles. I think I just got like one candle because they're like $21.95. But I got one candle because it smelled like coffee and it was so good. And I was so addicted to it that I went back for more, but they were sold out. So I ended up getting the Office Gossip one, which I did post a picture of on my Instagram. I loved that one as well. But this one, I'm just like, the scent is so, oh, it's just like coffee, and it's so good. So I went back and got 3 of these. They're back there. My coffee's here, but they're back there, and I haven't even burnt them yet because I have some other candles going on right now that I need to finish first. But just having these sitting here, when you walk back in this room, you can totally smell them. They're highly scented. If you love the smell of roasted coffee, this is exactly what it smells like. But I have heard that they're getting rid of some of their scents and bringing out some new scents for 2017. I'm really hoping they don't get rid of this one because I will be so freaking sad if they do. Hydro flask, I got the 32 ounce wide mouth flask, and I just love this thing. I got it for Christmas, or right before Christmas. I actually got this before I went and visited my parents, but I got the white 32 ounce, and yeah, it's really well made. And I take this to work with me every single day, and this is about the amount of water that I drink at work. Or I try to every day at least drink one of these at work. But if you put ice in it, the ice stays for like days, and it just keeps your water so cold. I haven't tried it hot yet. I've only been using it for water, but I just love it, and it has like a great feel and a weight to it. And I did, like on my first week of using it, I dropped it outside in the parking lot, and I like messed it up right here. So I'm so sad I already dinged it up, but it held up really well, and it didn't like break the bottle, and it didn't break like the seal, the vacuum seal that keeps everything so cold. But you just untwist the lid, and it just has like a wide mouth that you can just keep your water nice and cold in. So I'm absolutely loving my Hydro Flask. I think I will have this for a very long time, and I highly recommend it. A little pricey, but worth it. The last thing on my favorites list is the show on Netflix, The OA. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I forget how many episodes it was, but my husband and I watched it towards the beginning of January, and we absolutely loved it. It was super addictive. One of my favorite moments was we actually got a snow day, and even though I didn't really like go out and play in the snow or anything like that, it was just nice to have that extra day off of work. And even the day after that, we just had like a low, chill day at work, like barely any kids came in, and we just kind of like hung out for a few hours. So it wasn't that bad, but just having that extra time was like really nice. The second thing that I really enjoyed about the month was starting to read this, and then starting my decluttering process. Realizing that this is a method that I think will work for me, and just moving forward with that has really helped. I've gotten rid of tons of stuff. I went through my closet, and not really heavy duty. I didn't do like a super great job, but I just kind of did like a once over, and I got rid of I think 4 or 5 bags of clothes. I will insert a picture of all the clothes that I got rid of. My last favorite moment is I have decided that I would like to learn a little bit of Danish. My brother-in-law and of course his wife and family live in Denmark, and so they speak Danish, of course, and I would like to learn that language, because the kids do speak English, but they also speak Danish, and I would like to understand a little bit more about what they're saying. So I'm using this app on my phone called Memrise, and I'm really enjoying it because it gives you a few phrases in like like a lesson, and then as you move on to the next lesson, it tells you if you've mastered a word, if you're still reviewing a word, and it does do reviews as well as incorporate new words and phrases. So I'm really enjoying that, and I hope I stick with it. But that wraps up my January reading book haul favorites. I hope you've enjoyed this format. Let me know if it's a little too much down in the comment section, and then maybe I will revise it. But I think it's going to work out. I think just the first month is going to be a little crazy and a little like disjointed, but we'll see what ends up happening, from here on out. Like I said, it may or may not evolve. Please let me know something that happened to you in January that you absolutely loved, whether it be a book you read, a moment that you had, or something that you purchased or were gifted that you enjoyed. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!